perfect.
Gotta catch up.
I'm usually motivated and in a hurry.
Yeah, I understand that. You always got that aggressive walk.
I'm an aggressive person.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Good evening, sir. Welcome to Rockford Hills Police Department. What can we
How's it
do
going?
for you?
I'd like to. I thought I talked to Walker earlier. I'd like to file a complaint on. What was his name? I forget.
Michael Ritter.
Michael. Yeah, that was what it was. I slept on it for a day or two, and it just still wasn't sitting right with me. Didn't want to hastily, in the heat of the moment.
Okay, okay.
I slept on it. And still,
What is
still,
your complaint regarding?
just his overall behavior and professionalism, and um, the way he can, you know, conducted business in my establishment.
This is tough for me to say. All right. You're an above average detective, senior trooper.
I mean, it's definitely
Really?
difficult if we don't have initial eyes on it, but like as soon
No,
as it's
100%.
reported,
Can you describe or elaborate
because
on
it
his
the
professionalism
full
or the
is
way in
what
which he conducted
14
business in your
you can
establishment?
pursue for 2 cars
Is
and
it
6 people, but it should be
just
half of that, right?
something
So it should
a
be
little
what
quieter?
7 and then
Loud
5
right
to
here.
pursue per
Oh, we
first
can go
officer.
outside and
I'd
probably
say,
be
yeah. Are you?
quieter.
Yeah,
Mm,
which is
yeah.
ironic.
I have trouble thinking when I'm hearing
No,
stuff like
you're all
that.
good.
So the incident was, that I'm talking to you about was, so apparently he saw somebody who was test driving one of my vehicles. I asked him what the vehicle was and the plate. He couldn't tell me what it was. He just saw a car speeding, and as soon as he did that, he came straight to my dealership for some reason, even though the client was the guy that I had on a test drive. His name, he told me, was Franklin Johnson. Um, he um, so when he came into the store, the guy, he said, who he saw speeding in one of our test drive vehicles, even though I asked him what the plate number was and what model it was, and he couldn't inform me of any of that stuff. He came into the store, barged right past me. I said, "Welcome to Ellis Motors," like I always do with everybody. Barged right past me. He said, "I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to talk to him." And then I said, "Well, that's one of my customers. How can I help you? Did he do something wrong?" And he goes, "I saw him speeding." I'm like, "Okay, what kind of car was he speeding in, sir?" And he couldn't tell me the license plate or anything like that. And I said, "All right, well, we're not going to stand here and harass my customer over something that you can't even tell me that making color and license plate of a vehicle that he was driving." You know how the streets are in LS. People speed everywhere. So that's basically what's at me. And then he left, and then 15 seconds later, he said we had a 911 call coming from the building, and the only people in the store at that time were me, my employee Grandma Betty, and my guy that was on the test drive, Franklin Johnson, and none of us made that call. So I just thought it was a little fishy on that.
What name was it? Franklin what?
Johnson,
Franklin Johnson.
I believe so. But it's like I said, it's been 2 days. I meet hundreds of people, but that instance stuck out with me. I wanted to record it right then and there. When I talked to Walker at the front door when he came back after that 911 call, me and Walker were talking out front, and I guess he chased him out of the back door or something. I don't know.
You chased
But
Mr. Johnson out the back door?
yes. Um, but as with me and Walker were talking, I was explaining to him, I'm frustrated, how he was acting, like that. I don't if that's how you guys promote acting in, public eye, I wouldn't think so. But he asked me if I wanted to file a complaint then, and I told him I would later. And I got busy that night, and I always just wanted to sleep on it and make it short. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, if it wasn't just, and it's still, leaving like a bad taste in my mouth, if you know what I mean.
All right, let me review what I have written down. You're filing a complaint against an officer regarding his professionalism and how he conducted his business within your establishment. The officer saw somebody apparently driving around in one of your test vehicles at high rates of speed. He went over to the dealership. Did he go there to speak with you, or did he go there looking for the individual?
He went there looking for the individual. At that time, that the guy that I did have on a test drive was already back for maybe a minute or two, minute 30, something like that. And because we brought the car back that he was originally test driving in. We returned it and then picked out another car for him to test drive. And he was getting ready to leave in that car whenever that officer came in and started harassing him.
So the individual was in the process of getting ready to test drive another vehicle?
Yes.
Did he get to test drive that vehicle, or did he get out of the vehicle? Was there a vehicle provided for him, or how did that work?
No, it was, he left in that vehicle, the second test drive vehicle that he took. Actually, I think it might have been the third or fourth test drive vehicle he took that day. But he left in that one after the officer came in, and me and the officer were talking, and that's when he asked me for my ID. I supplied it, even though I probably shouldn't have, because I haven't put it on. Then we talked, and he came back, and
What did you guys talk about?
you mean, like while he was on his test drive?
Yeah, while the individual in question was on the test drive after he left again, what did you and the officer talk about?
I asked if that's how he has every interaction. I don't appreciate him harassing my customers in my store. They're here to do business, not get harassed unlawfully by you guys. And then I asked him at that time if he could please leave. And then he did. And then he came back in no less than a minute later.
So he left after that
Yes.
conversation?
We'd be having this conversation in front of,
Do you mind going back inside, Mr. Ritter? Okay, so the officer left and he returned about how long after?
no more than a minute. Less than a minute. Said there was a 911 call coming from the building, and at that time the only people in the building were, when they re-entered the building, the only ones in the building was me, my employee, new employee, I was training her at the time, Grandma Betty, and Franklin Johnson returned in his test drive vehicle that he left, and then we put that away, and then we were getting ready to sign the papers on it, and hopefully sign the papers on it. We were still in the negotiations processes on it, but then he barged back in saying that he had a 911 call coming from the building, and I turned and looked and talked to my employee. I said, "Did you make that 911 call?" And she said no. And then I asked Franklin, I said, "Did you make that 911 call?" Because I know I didn't. And then at that time they said they were going to serve him with a warrant, which I had no knowledge of. And then they ran out the back, and I was up front with. I told him that it's super unprofessional to serve a warrant inside a place of business. I know you guys can. Just gives a bad name to the business. I don't condone any illegal activities or anything like that, but at the same time, if my customer base doesn't feel safe inside my business, what they do outside my business, I'm
731 38 Southwest Bound Boulevard, Del Perro, with a red four-door SUV. The last four of the plate.
Let me turn that off. Alright, so he came back to the location about less than a minute later. Is that when he came straight in, ignoring you, and went to approach the suspect, Mr.
No,
Johnson?
that was the very first time he entered the business. He did that as soon as coming in. We were all in the back garage where we pull our test drive vehicles from and return them. He went as he was approaching us. I saw him coming. I said, "I welcome to LS Motors," and then he walked right past me, and then said, "I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to talk to him." Uh, like real rude, and I had a real tone with it. Just that's the part that irritated me the most. Like I'm, real friendly greeting you, and then you're like, I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to talk to him. Like just like, I don't.
Okay, so
That
when he was talking with the individual, that's when the individual left in the test car.
um, he left. He said that. So we were all like standing there talking together. He never really like pulled him aside and was talking to him, and he said, "I caught you speeding," and he goes, "There's no shot you did. I wasn't speeding." Then I asked the officer, uh, "Well, what kind of vehicle did you clock? You got a license plate, color, anything?" And he he couldn't provide me with that. And I told him, "You're not going to sit here and harass my customers over something like that." I said, "I don't condone speeding in the test drive vehicles, but once they leave here, I can't control what they do." That'd be important for my manager. There was another employee in the building at the time, but he was in the office taking a phone call. I doubt he saw any of this. His name was Sal Slavic.
Okay, let me see what I have. Alright, so your complaint is against an officer regarding his professionalism and how he conducted business. He apparently saw somebody that was test driving one of the vehicles from your business. He went to your dealership to locate the suspect. Um, you were initially told a different name that you later shared with the officer, something Johnson, Franklin Johnson. Um, when the officer came into the store, he ignored you, walked right past you, and disregarded anything you had to say, and directly approached the suspect, Mr. Johnson. Um, Talking to him about his speeding. The suspect negated the assertion that he was speeding, and then you began asking the officer about the license plate, the speed, or any evidence that the officer had. The officer did not provide any information and continued to focus on the suspect. You then asked him not to harass your customers. Um, the suspect left in a different test vehicle. And then you began speaking with the officer. You again expressed to him that you didn't appreciate him harassing your customers inside of your business. The officer left, but returned less than a minute after, stating that there had been a 911 placed at the location. You assert there was only 3 people in there at that time. The suspect who had returned from the test drive, yourself, and Grandma Betty, somebody you were training. The officer, when he returned, was saying again that there was a 911 call from inside the store. And you don't believe anybody inside would have placed a call. And then apparently Mr. Ritter chased Mr. Johnson out of the back door after he was saying that he was going to serve a warrant on that individual. And you expressed to him that it was unprofessional for him to serve a warrant within your business. Then Mr. Paris here showed up on the scene, and you continued to speak with him while Mr. Ritter went chasing down Mr. Johnson. Is that correct?
Yep.
Do customers test driving cars have to present photo ID?
Yeah, usually, name, photo ID, something. He showed me. Yeah, I don't, I'm not I don't question the IDs people give me. Um, just like I said, the higher end cars we get, a lot of the criminals in the state are wanted a lot of the times. It seems like, and he showed me a what appeared to be an ID with the name Franklin Johnson on it. I don't ask questions. That's good enough for me.
Okay. Presented you with an ID that said Franklin Johnson. You let him take the test drive. Were you concerned at all about him speeding in your test vehicle, or you didn't?
No, I mean, they are test drive cars. People like to see how they perform. But I don't condone speeding in them. But once they get out of the eyesight of the dealership, I can't really do much about it. See if they're doing it.
Like a out of sight, out of mind sort of thing.
No, not necessarily. I do worry about them hitting somebody, or like causing an accident, but we haven't had anything like that happen yet, thank God. But I understand accidents happen. Somebody gets a little carried away in a car they're not too familiar with. But like I said, I don't condone speeding in any of those test drive vehicles, but I'm sure it happens.
Mm. So, if you're sure that it happens, why did you have a problem with the officer addressing the issue?
Well, so if it was, if he had legitimate proof that he was speeding in that vehicle, like I don't even think he saw him. I think I honestly think I don't know I don't know why he singled out that individual, but he did. And
Probably because he was speeding.
The suspect was back for a good minute. Or not the suspect. Franklin Johnson was back for a good minute and a half.
This is the stupidest
before that
complaint.
officer ever even showed up. Like he was getting ready to head out on his second test drive. And, by the process of returning the car, going out to the showroom, picking out another one, and getting back to the garage. That takes at least a minute. And he was ready to leave in that second vehicle before that officer ever even showed up. So that's kind of why I was questioning a little bit too. I felt like he was singling
probably looking for the car
individually.
Okay, so in an ideal world, what would you have liked for the officer to have done in regards to that situation? What would be your ideal interaction with that officer? How would that have gone? What would it look like to you?
So, when I said welcome to Alice Motors, he could have pulled me aside and said, hey, I think I might have saw this guy speeding in the vehicle over there. Do you mind if I talk to him? Basically, fill me in a little bit before
That's the most ridiculous shit
saying
I've
I'm not
ever
here to
heard.
talk to you. I'm here to talk to him. When a good amount of time has passed by between him returning in the original vehicle that he said that he was speeding in and the officer showing up.
Oh shit! Alright, thank you. Okay. And what would you like the outcome for this to be? What would be your ideal outcome in regards to this officer?
Just maybe I don't want to get him fired. Like I said, I sat on it for a day or two because I wanted to make sure I wasn't overreacting or anything like that. Because I talked to, so the night or the day that happened, I talked to Riley Hollis. He's comes down to the dealership all the time. We talk and he checks out cars and tries to sell me the ones he's got. And I talked to him that night because he stopped down and asked him what he thought about it.
This guy is ridiculous.
And
This guy is completely
he said I should fill out a report for it. And then yesterday we were super busy and I never got a chance to make it up here to make a formal report, so I wanted to do it first thing when I came in tonight.
Your business was more important than...
No, I was only able to be around for a short amount of time yesterday.
Oh, okay. Just checking. Alright, is there anything that I have forgotten to ask about or anything you would like to add to your statement, complaint?
I don't believe so.
Was the officer
Yeah, like, I'm not
raising his voice, being disrespectful,
he
yelling?
just had a tone about it that was just like condescending and aggressive, and just like he wanted to escalate the situation even further.
When you say his tone was aggressive, did he like elevate his voice, or was it like stern, or what made it quote unquote aggressive?
It was a little bit elevated, really stern and like super condescending. If that makes sense.
Okay, I've made note that the officer's tone was aggressive. He was very stern and somewhat condescending. Uh,
Yeah, like I don't want I don't want anybody to get fired over this. I just
don't worry, they're
figured
not.
I'd bring it to somebody's attention, because I wouldn't think that's how the police force would condone them acting in public. I don't know. He seemed like he was on a power trip.
All right.
I guess would be the best way to put it.
All right, I think I have it.
Yeah. What you guys need from me?
Yeah, I got your phone number and everything, so
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
I'll get to you. You have an email that'd be good to reach you at, just in case.
I can. How would you like me to send that to you? Want me to email you, shoot you a text with my email
No, you can
address
just
on
say
there?
it. You can just verbally say it, and I'll get it.
Honestly, I don't even know what my email address is. Okay, I found it. My email address is IH1468, hashtag 5368.
All right, I got it.
Alright, we'll put these in the system. We'll get you a report number. Actually, I need to put it somewhere different.
Yeah, because it's yeah.
I won't have a report number, but if you ask about it, somebody will know where to look. You have any questions, comments, or concerns for us?
No, I wanted to make sure that it was a valid complaint before I came down and did it. That's kind of why I waited as long as I did, which isn't really that long. It's like a day and a half, maybe 2 days at the absolute most. Yeah, I don't want him to fired over this. I just figured I'd bring it to somebody's attention. That's basically all.
Alrighty. We appreciate you coming down, Mr. Bobby, and
Yeah, no problem.
he, like I said, it's a formal complaint and everything, so he'll get reviewed and everything and looked into. Yeah.
All right, thank you guys.
You have a
an
good day,
above
sir.
average day, sir, a better day.
You too.
Miss Price, do you want me to forward you my report for that?
Oh, yeah, let's go inside.
I don't know. Probably best to consolidate.